Thank you for making the time today to attend this webinar. We're very excited to talk to you about Rimini Street Application Management Services for Salesforce. My name is Jason Katsaftis. I'm Senior Director of Product Marketing at Rimini Street, looking after our AMS for Salesforce products. I also look after our cloud services portfolio, as well as most of our primary Oracle applications. I spent over 20 years at Dell EMC, working with enterprise and mid-sized customers. Before we start, I'd like to briefly address our standard legal disclaimer slide. We include this in all our external-facing webinars. It basically states this webinar content is developed from Rimini Street. It's not sponsored or affiliated with any other party. And additionally, the webinar content may contain proprietary information not intended for other recipients and should not be redistributed. I'll pause for a moment for you to review the rest of the disclaimer. Thank you. I want to take a quick minute and give you an overview of Rimini Street's business. Many of you attending this webinar may be existing clients, but may not be exactly familiar with how your company uses Rimini Street today. We're the world's leading provider of enterprise third-party software support. And traditionally, this was for Oracle and SAP application environments only, as well as the underlying databases. We've expanded our offerings now to include application management services for Salesforce. The foundation of our services for our customers really focus on two things: improving the quality of service and support they receive today, and also saving them a lot of money in the process. And I'm going to talk about how we do this uniquely today for Salesforce environments. When we talk to Salesforce customers today, we hear a very consistent theme around their expectations of the platform and the investment they've made. Salesforce can be a very powerful tool to help transform the business, driving higher win rates from sales, increasing revenue, and also, most importantly, driving higher customer satisfaction and retention. One of the challenges that we hear consistently when we talk to Salesforce customers is the difference between their initial expectations when they invested in the platform and then ultimately what they're realizing today now that they've implemented. And this gap between even just an average and a high-performing Salesforce implementation and system can have a dramatic impact on the overall return on investment and value they're receiving from the Salesforce SaaS applications. Now, for many Salesforce customers today, when they initially implemented the platform, they would seek the help of an outside party, such as a systems integrator. Those companies would come in and help with the strategy and architecture design, as well as the initial implementation. But what we find is after the Salesforce implementation has gone live, customers are in many cases left to support these environments on their own. And they quickly become consumed with the ongoing operations and development and maintenance of the Salesforce environment, keeping up with the requests of the business. This really becomes the primary focus of their internal resources. Now, their ultimate goal is to optimize the utilization of the platform, increase adoption of the platform within the business among their users, and allow the company to consume all of the goodness that Salesforce includes. But they struggle to achieve those objectives today. And closing this gap between your initial expectations and the ultimate value and outcomes that you're trying to achieve is where Rimini Street is focused. So what are some of the key challenges creating this gap between the expectations you have around your Salesforce platform and just the reality of managing and maintaining Salesforce on a daily basis? The biggest consistent theme we hear when we talk to Salesforce customers is just a challenge around resources, acquiring and retaining the resources they need, but also the resources they have are overloaded with a backlog of requests from the business. Now, some companies will go out externally and seek assistance from third-party systems integrators or managed service providers to help get through this backlog, but sustaining those resources and predicting the costs of those resources becomes a challenge. And with Salesforce releasing new versions of the product several times a year in many cases, this only compounds the challenge for many customers today. So let me give you an overview of Rimini Street Application Management Services for Salesforce. These services are divided into three areas. The first is responsive application services. This is about us helping you get things done and get things done faster. You're going to have access to a very robust services catalog that can help you through many of the tasks that your team faces today, just maintaining and operating Salesforce. Things such as configuration, development, administration activities. The second is proactive services. This is about helping you get more value out of your Salesforce system and your Salesforce investment. Increasing adoption of the system as an example, finding better ways to do that within the business, planning for the next Salesforce release. And then finally, we offer critical production support. Now, many of you who already use Rimini Street today for Oracle or SAP are used to the award-winning support that we provide on a 24/7 by 365 basis, our sub 15-minute service level response time guarantee. All of this applies to Salesforce as well. However, the one difference is you still keep the support that you have from Salesforce today. Rimini Street is not replacing the support that Salesforce gives you for the SaaS application. What we're doing is we're providing you critical production support for your production instance that you have of Salesforce. So let's walk through how the engagement with Rimini Street would work around our AMS for Salesforce offering. The first thing we would do is sit down with you and actually walk through the tickets that your internal users are logging on a continual basis and analyze those to understand where are most of the requests coming from and where is your team spending most of its time today. Here's one example from one of our clients where we went through over 2 years of their data and found that the bulk of their requests were coming around user administration as well as configuration of the Salesforce system and data services. We then mapped all of these requests against our service catalog, and in this case found that we were going to be able to address nearly 100% of all of the requests that their users have today. I now want to talk a little bit about the engagement model with Rimini Street around AMS for Salesforce. Each one of our clients gets assigned a primary support engineer. For those existing clients of Oracle or SAP, you'll be very familiar with this model. This PSE is assigned to your specific company and gets to know your Salesforce instance very intimately. They're going to become experts in what you have today and also where you're trying to take the platform in the future. Backing up this PSE is a strong team of Salesforce certified experts that can cover a variety of tasks that you may need on an ongoing basis. Administrative tasks, application builders, developers, or designers for Salesforce. Your current team can then pull from these resources as needed to extend and augment the skill sets you have in your company today. Now, here's one example of a Salesforce user, customer with 1,200 users. And we did an analysis of their current resources today, what those looked like before and after adopting Rimini Street AMS for Salesforce, and then the proactive services value they were able to get by having a dedicated PSC and access to our team, as well as the critical production support value that they were receiving as well. And what we found is after combining all of these things together, first of all, they were better able to optimize and rebalance the team that they had today and extend the use through the Rimini Street team as well. And that brought in an initial level of savings. But the real value came in terms of our ability to help increase adoption of the Salesforce platform itself, as well as uncover a lot of unused licenses that they could in turn retire. And that drove a heavy amount of proactive services value and savings as well. And in terms of critical production support, having a 15-minute guaranteed response time SLA and having that production support 24/7 by 365, in this case had a very tangible monetary value as well. And when we added all of this up together, we saw nearly $500,000 net savings for this particular environment, or a return on investment of approximately 120%. I now want to walk through 2 recent client examples that you've actually seen Rimini Street announce in public press releases of existing clients who've adopted our AMS for Salesforce offering. The first is Brand Safeway. This was an existing client of Rimini Street that was using our third-party support services for Oracle. They were struggling with a very large backlog of tasks and just keeping up with the ongoing tickets required to keep their Salesforce system operational. And they were looking at bringing on additional headcount to help manage this workload. And they were very concerned about just not getting to those proactive tasks to unlock the value of the system. So this was the driving force for them to shift over and, instead of hiring additional resources, move to leverage Rimini Street AMS for Salesforce. Second client is EBSCO. This was an SAP client, and they were, similar to brand Safeway, struggling with a large backlog of requests, but they were also leveraging Salesforce across many business units. And they were very much looking for a way to have a kind of a centralized shared services pool, if you will, of skills and resources that they could deploy across the business to meet their Salesforce needs. So they also made the choice to move to Rimini Street and take advantage of our new AMS offerings. In summary, Rimini Street Application Management Services for Salesforce are focused on you helping get the most value out of your Salesforce investment. We want to help your team get beyond just maintaining the backlog of ticket requests from the business and focus your resources on getting the most return on investment and value out of the platform. The way we're going to do this is by providing you full access to a robust services catalog. This services catalog comes at a single predictable subscription price. So you're not going to be provided or have to worry about managing a bucket of hours and drawdowns and other complex pricing structures. It's going to be very predictable and very easy to adopt these services. And finally, we're going to find the right balance of resources that you have within your company today and leveraging the expertise at Rimini Street as an extension of your business to drive a high-performance implementation. For those clients interested in learning more, would like to sit down with us, we'd encourage you to reach out to your account manager. We can schedule time with our AMS for Salesforce practice and talk to you about these offerings in more detail. Thank you very much for attending this webinar.